Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Extra Lab podcast. Today, we are very lucky enough to have with us Oregon commit Anthony Fastforce. Anthony, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you. Anthony, you're repping the Oregon right there. So we'll start off with that. Historic program, great runners. What went into that decision?
Honestly, it all really just came down to the coach itself. As everyone knows, Jerry Schumacher took over at Oregon as the head coach. And just to me, that was just my sign to go there. I really wanted to be coached by him. I know everything he's done and all the accolades he holds. And he also coached my current coach right now. So everything just kind of aligned. And Oregon as a school is a school that I've wanted to go to for a while. And it's been a dream school. So stars aligned and I was able to get myself there.
Definitely. And it must just be like really exciting to see all of the runners there now and, imagine yourself being one next year. So, how does that like affect your decision just knowing, you're going to be one of them?
I think just knowing that there's going to be a lot of really good competition to run with all the time, especially at practice. Like I know practice isn't really supposed to be like a race every day,
Mhm.
but it basically is going to feel like it for the first few weeks because all those guys are so good. We have obviously Simeon, Connor, Tayson, Will, all super good guys. They had a really good senior year and like it's going to just be a super talented group of guys, and I'm just really excited to get out there and work with them. And then now we have Jack Mayer and Adam Burleson joining me too.
Definitely. And, you said it yourself, the coach at Oregon, he coached your coach. So is it like kind of a relief knowing that your training most likely will be very similar to what you're doing next year?
Yeah, I mean, just when I talked to Jerry when I first went on my visit, I realized that my training was very similar, just without knowing the whole coaching connection. Because I always just do a lot of threshold, and he does too. And so, just knowing that connection, I'm like super excited. It makes me feel a lot more security in the training. I'm not really going to be questioning much. Plus, I wouldn't really question anything with Jerry, anyways.
Definitely. And, to move on to a little bit of cross country, you put together an insane senior year. So how do you like balance racing and training?
Basically, I just try and focus on throughout the week hitting my workouts hard and my easy day to easy, as people say. And then when it comes to the day of the race, I just forget about anything that I did that week. If there was a bad workout, so be it. If there was a good workout, then that's helpful. But regardless of what happened that week, I just try and focus on what I can do that day to be my best. And that's how I focus on racing.
And definitely. And, you're a California runner, obviously. So, how is it like? I feel like it's kind of a weird distance, the 3 miles. So what's up with that? How is that?
I think it just has to do that a lot of our courses are like run in like the back of high schools or like on like concrete, which is to a lot of people wrong because a lot of the people run on like crazy hilly, like muddy courses. But I
Mhm.
think the 3 mile distance is actually like a really good distance. And most of the time, if you do the conversion, your time's pretty close. And then for the state season, we go and run at Woodward Park, which is a 5K, which is really fun. But
Mhm.
I don't really ever really notice a difference between the distances. Like the 200 meters doesn't really feel that much different when you're in the race.
Definitely. And, as a California runner and, one of the faces of California running, how is it running in huge invitationals like Clovis and just races like that?
It's just really exciting. Like the fan base of California, everyone is so excited to watch people race. Like when I always see videos after the race of parents running back and forth, people running back and forth to come and watch
Mhm.
us run by. And it's just like really inspirational that like people care that much to watch us race. And then just being there in the race, there's always so much good competition compared to some of the other states. And like every day you toe the line, there's always going to be someone good, whether you're in your league, your county, or if you're at the state meet.
Definitely. And, how, like, when you're preparing for races for that, is there like a particular workout you go to or?
So workout wise, I don't really have any like go to workouts, but if I'm gonna list off a go to workout that I would love to do going into a race, it's probably gonna have to be something to do with 800s at race pace and then some 1Ks at threshold. I just feel like that's like the perfect balance to get used to that 5K distance and like it really gets your legs ready. And then maybe like the last one closing it down a little.
Definitely. And Anthony, you use the winter more as a training block moving to outdoor. So how does that work? Like all the base building and just moving towards outdoor.
So we just take things a lot more slower because I know everyone right now is probably racing indoor training really hard already, but I'm just like focusing on taking things really slow, building mileage really slow, just basically using it as if we would in the summer. And I feel like it's a really good thing for us in California or states that just don't do indoor because you're basically given two buildups that are exactly the same for both cross country and track.
Definitely. And what's I know you said you don't do a lot of particular workouts, but is there a difference in the training you would do, say, for like a 3,200 versus a mile or six?
Yeah, like definitely there is a difference in the training because for the 32, want to do a little bit more threshold based work and then some 32 pace work. Like this week, I'm going to be doing 12 by 400 at 32 as a workout, and it's going to be basically 3 sets of 4 by 4. And then if I was going to train for the mile, I would probably do like 2 sets of 4 by 4, but they would be a lot quicker, and I wouldn't really do the threshold aspect of it that much.
Definitely. And I just gotta ask. So I always tell my dad, who I'm having on for the podcast, and I told him your name, Anthony Fast Horse. So, as a runner, how like do you have any interesting stories with that, or has that has to be brought up a lot, I have to assume.
Yeah, definitely. My name's brought up a lot, and honestly, it's just like really cool to me that when I started running, I didn't really think much about it because I started in third grade. I just started running because of the love of the sport,
Mhm.
and I ended up being blessed with such a good name. And I always get told by people, and people always tell my parents that if I was slow, I would be unlucky. But now that I run pretty fast, it's pretty nice to have a last name like Fast Horse.
Definitely, and I feel like, some people just have that name where it's like, oh, that it makes sense why they're just like, so elite or, that. And I feel like you have that name. Was there a certain point in like your career though that you realized you're an elite runner or elite athlete?
Honestly, I think it had to be with my sophomore track season. I ran decent in freshman year. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best, like compared to what people are running now. And then sophomore cross season, I had a decent year again. And then just going into track season, I was really motivated. And then I ran a couple of races and broke 420 for my first time
Mhm.
after not thinking I was going to be able to get anywhere near that in high school. So that was just kind of like a breakthrough moment when I realized that like I could be good at this sport and I really wanted to focus everything in on it and really dial in my training and just put a lot of focus into this.
Definitely. And, during your training, do you like stick to a particular trainer or
By trainer, do you mean training plan or like a person?
like a trainer shoe, I should say. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, my bad. So
Oh,
trainer shoe, I definitely throughout the years, I first started out, I was running in Brooks, but then I transitioned to the Pegasus, and that's like one of my favorite shoes to run. And I could run in that shoe for however many miles. I even did a workout in it the other day because I forgot my super shoes. So I was just enjoying cruising around in the Pegasus. It's like one of the best overall trainers. But then I like to mix in the Invincible every now and then just to
definitely.
get some soft, cushiony feel.
And it's funny you say super shoe because someone actually asked alpha flies versus vapor fly, and which one would you prefer?
So I've never tried the Alpha Fly, but just based off the looks of them and what I hear from people how they feel, if it was going to be a track workout, I would much rather wear the Vaporfly because it's just more lower to the ground and I feel like it'd be a lot easier to spring off of. But from what my teammates who have the Alpha Fly have told me, it's a lot better to run in that shoe when you're on like the bike path or on the trails because you spring more compared to the Vaporfly, and especially being higher up, it's a lot easier to hit paces. So I think just overall, I'd rather do the Vaporfly for personal experience, but the Alpha Fly is actually a shoe I'm looking to try eventually.
Definitely. And after you have a big workout or a big race, what's like the go-to recovery for you?
So definitely right after a big workout or a big race, I want to go and get in some electrolytes and some form of protein. I'm just going to say my favorite form of protein is going to be the Fairlife Core Power. It's like the
There you go.
best tasting
I do
protein
the
there
same
is out there.
exact thing. What flavor of Fairlife are you rocking with?
I'm usually going with chocolate or I'll go with strawberry just because I feel like strawberry milk's like the best milk there is out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got into the Fairlife, and I feel like strawberry banana has been the move, but also chocolate's just such a classic. I feel like you can't go wrong with it, you know?
Yeah, you definitely cannot go wrong with chocolate. And then just going into another post workout slash big race thing I would eat is probably going to be a protein bar. I don't really have a specific protein bar. And then I would just go with some electrolytes. And my favorite electrolytes to have after a workout is going to be Gatorade. It just has that perfect taste to it.
Definitely. And Anthony, as the big seasons come ahead of outdoor and even your freshman year in college, do you have any particular goals in mind or?
Yeah, I mean, just this year, I really want to just focus on competing and like forget about all like the stresses of focusing on every little detail of training. I want to run really fast this year, but just also let it just flow. I just want to go out there, compete with the people there is. We have a really good group of guys going into this season. That's going to be a lot of good competition, especially that Arcadia invite. That's going to be a really good race, which I'm excited for. And so I just want to go out there, compete, try and win as many races as I can, but really focus on the end of the season. And then just for college, I would love to get out there, try and run my first year at and not redshirt. If not, just continue training, grinding, and getting ready for that indoor track season, which would be my first.
Definitely. And I mean, like, since you haven't done an indoor season, what's your thoughts, going on to a 200-meter oval,
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be definitely a whole lot of change. Luckily, this year I'm going to be going to Nike Indoor Nationals to run a 5K. So I'm going
Mhm.
to get very acquainted with the 200-meter track as I'm going to be running 25 laps around it. But
Yeah,
honestly, just from what I hear about it, it's going to be a little bit of like a learning curve at first. But I think once I get used to it, I'm going to like it because it's just like fast paced and springy.
definitely. 25 laps. I feel like you'll figure it out by then. That's a lot
Yeah.
of laps. Definitely. And last year you ran, you went to Arcadia last year. So this year, you're familiar with the meet, a lot of great talent. So a lot of great times are thrown down there too. So is the goal just, go out there and just give it your all and compete?
Yeah, I mean, this year or last year for my junior year when I ran at Arcadia, it was my first time running the 32 at Arcadia and like one of the best events to run there just because of the all the hype around it. But this year, I'm really excited to hopefully get my shot to run in that invite heat this year instead of running in the seeded heat and
Mhm.
just have a lot more competition to run with because my race was fast, but watching the invite heat was insane. I just feel like I could have gone a little faster if I got that chance. So I'm excited to get that chance this year.
Oh, definitely. And, you look at the film of Arcadia last year for the invite heat, and, you see people seated at 20th who have run like, 820 in the 3K and just stuff like that. And it's like, it's always good to be part of that. And mostly, you ran 14:30 in cross country this year, which is ridiculous in the 5K. So what went into that race, the 14:30?
Honestly, that race, I was coming off a good race at Woodbridge with good friend Evan Noonan, and I ended up running 13:48 there. I just felt like I could have given myself a little bit more effort going to that race and probably planned a little better. But going into the 14:35 32 5K, I just trained hard, focused all on training, forgot about the Woodbridge race, got to that line, and really just used the course to my advantage. Woodward Park is a very interesting course as it starts out with rolling hills, and
Mhm.
then you go up the one like hardest hill they call in the place called Killer Hill, and it wasn't really that hard, but I went out slowish, not really slow, but more conservative, made my move on the hill, and then just decided just all to the wall the last mile and ended up working out in my favor. And I mean, that was a really fun race, especially to be seventh all time on a course like that with so many good runners like Nico Young, Colin Solomon, Lex Young, and Leo Young. Like, it's so nice to be a part of that list.
Definitely. And you just said to yourself, you're putting yourself in the California books, which is insane because of all the, you know, great runners they've had over the years. So, like so far in your career, has there been a moment that just stuck out to you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely going back, that race was like a moment that definitely stuck out to me. Like, I knew I was good coming off the last track season, having run 8:51 and 4:08, and I was just like, this is the season where I got to make another breakthrough. And I feel like I just bridged the gap from being good to elite, and now being a part of that books, like just looking at the track season, see what they ran and seeing what my possibilities are and hoping I can replicate something similar to what they did.
Definitely. And someone asked this, and I thought it was a little interesting. It was just about asking about tips for running an 800. But I don't I don't know like how many 800s you've run in, or if it's your event, but do you have any tips for that?
So I haven't run much 800s, but I definitely love the 800 as a event because I feel like it's arguably one of the hardest events in track and field. I love watching people just gun it out in 2 laps. But I feel like just from what I hear, a lot of the tips are you want to go out 2 seconds faster than you planned ahead, and then the second lap will probably be like 2 seconds slower. So it would be like 53, 55 if you wanted to run like 148 is what I hear is what most people try and do, especially the elite athletes. But I don't really know much more other than that.
Definitely. And as you said, you're doing the 5K at Nike, I believe you said, this year, and you tend to stick to a little longer events. So what is it like, going down in distance to an event like that?
Honestly, I love going down a distance as my favorite event to run and what I kind of see myself as in the collegiate system is to be a miler, but I like to start out my seasons with longer events, and I feel like this cross region just showed my aerobic strength I had, and coming off the last track season running pretty fast in the state at the state meet in the mile, I'd like to see what I can do this year, bringing down my time with all that new aerobic strength added.
Definitely. And as you said, with aerobic strength and being a strength runner, how would you say that? I gotta ask, what's the cat's name?
This is my kin Marley. She's a little hyper right now because I just fed her.
How old is Marley?
About 8 months old.
8 months old. Is this your
Yeah.
first cat, or do you have any other pets, or?
No, this is my second cat. I have another one who's about 4 to 5 years old, but she's a lot bigger than this one.
Word. And yeah, bro, that's awesome. And I'm sorry, I'm completely forgot. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. As a strength runner, how would you say that impacts your kick, or where would you say you'd like to go from, or at then?
Honestly, I definitely just think coming from a strength standpoint, it really helps me in the 32 as at Arcadia. My main goal with Arcadia was just go out and just sit in that pack no matter how fast or slow we go out. I just wanted to sit there and focus on the close. And like I closed in 206 at that race when I ran 851. And I was just like, sit in that pack, use my strength to help me go along, and then just pull out a kick at the end. And then, like, let's go to another race where I really feel like my strength helped me. We were able to, I just sat in the back at the state meet. It didn't really work out for me in the long term, but in short term, I sat in the back, just used my strength of what felt easy, and then just gunned the last lap. And I ran a 56.3 that last lap, which was pretty fun to do, especially that I was just able to sit. I was too far back though to win.
Mm, definitely. And like, how, as a strength athlete, how would you say you build a kick, like in training?
I think just doing speed development, like fast hill strides, fast flat strides. Like this last cross season, I felt like my kick really got helped by my coach introducing 150 flies where we would do like 50 meters easy, 50 meters all out, and then a 50-meter like deceleration. I felt like those are really fun to do, especially when you can spike up and just get your legs moving. And then building a kick wise with the strength wise, you can do a lot of fast 400s. Like last year, I did an 800 pace workout where I did 8 by 200 at 27, and then I did 2 by 400, and I went 53, 55, and that was a really good workout for just getting my kick together.
Definitely, that's a really, really good workout. Well, Anthony, thank you so much. You were a great guest, and thank you everyone for watching. Till our next lap. See ya.
Thank you.